Hello, this is your teacher, Hector Alvarez. Now I'm going to narrate one of my plays. Name I Love, I Hate That Teacher. Introduction. This book tries about a new English teacher who started to work in a private school, and his students used to love him because he almost never taught them the subject, but he only used to tell them some interesting stories about his life. During the time the students were in the high school, they used to love him because the high qualifications he used to put them, even though they didn't know anything about English. However, when they went to the university, they realized that he wasn't a good teacher as they thought at first, but a bad one. That's why their love became into hate to that teacher. Chapter 1. The New Teacher. Do you know who's the new English teacher, Casey? Asked Danny, a junior school student. No, I haven't seen him yet, but somebody told me that he's already in the principal's office, said Casey, one of the students, the leader of them. Well, I hope that he will be an easygoing guy. Someone better than the last teacher, he who went to the United States, said Danny. Look, he's coming now. Hey, I want everybody to stand up when the new teacher enters in the classroom, and I also want everybody shouts at the same time, welcome dear teacher, said Casey. Good morning, said the teacher by the time he was entering in the classroom. Good morning, and welcome to the class, dear teacher, said everybody at the same time. Oh, I noticed that you all are very pleased. I know that we are going to have good times here in class, said the teacher with a long smile in his face. My name is Mr. Johnson. As you can see, I'm the new English teacher, and I'm here to teach you and to help you in anything you need if it's on my hand. The pleasure is for us, Mr. Johnson, said Casey. Tell us, Mr. Johnson, where are you coming from? Where do you study English? And tell us all about your life, said Lisbeth, one of the students. Well, first of all, I'm coming from Santo Domingo. I studied English at Dominico Americano Institute. I'm 35 years old. I'm divorced and I like making parties and going out with some friends, said Mr. Johnson. The time of the first class passed and Mr. Johnson only thought about his life and his hobbies. Chapter 2. The first exam day. Mr. Johnson and his students are more friends than being teacher and students. In the class, time, Mr. Johnson always helps the students to complete the textbook exercises. However, he never explains them about the grammar. And when the exam day arrives, he uses to help them to find out the answers, and no one of them gets less than 95 points in their English evaluation. All the students are so happy with Mr. Johnson because most of them have 100 in their qualifications in English, including those students who never had more than 75 in their English qualification with other teachers. The students' parents also are so excited and happy with their children's qualifications in English. Also, Fernando's father asked his son, how did he get a such high qualification in English, because he has never been good in English. And Fernando answered him, I got that high qualification because there is a new and excellent English teacher, he who is very kind with them, named Mr. Johnson. Oh, but I bet that he's a very good teacher because he achieved that miracle with you, said Fernando's father. All the students' parents are proud with their children's English qualification to the point that they all want to know him, to thank giving him. The principal also called Mr. Johnson in order to congratulate him for his achievement with all those students who love him so much, as they had never loved another teacher like him. And the principal also said to him, I really feel so proud that you're part of this institution. That's why I will give you an award for your achievement with all your students. Chapter 3. The Jealousies. The rest of the teachers are jealous with Mr. Johnson because the students always talk about that Mr. Johnson is their favorite teacher. When there is an excursion, the students prefer being accompanied by Mr. Johnson instead of other teacher because he always talks then about his life and his story. So he always tells the students what he did and how he did it, and in his weekend or other events. In class, he almost never explained them about grammar, and that things used to like them because youth of nowadays do not like copying nor listening anyone talking about any class. So they prefer teachers like Mr. Johnson. There are two reasons which the students say, I love that teacher, and those are 1. That he never bothers them with grammar, and 2. They always get a high level in their English qualification. I love that teacher, said Casey, Danny, Fernando, and all the rest of the students. Chapter 4. An amount of presents. When the school year comes to end and all the students' parents accompany their children to school to look for their notes, there was no one who did not bring Mr. Johnson a present, and those parents were so valued and expensive because the students were really thankful, with Mr. Johnson being him the teacher with more presents received. That day, Mr. Johnson had to call a bus taxi in order to carry all his presents because they were so many. He received presents like shoes, ties, socks, sneakers, pants, shirts, t-shirts, polo shirts, laptops, and so on. Chapter 5. The last year at school. In the other school year, Casey, Danny, Fernando, and their other classmates are in senior school, the last one at the school, and the first day of class was so exciting because Mr. Johnson, as always, was telling them about his experience in his last vacation. He explained them where he did go, who he did go, who he did go with, and what he did do. Mr. Johnson never teaches the students about grammar, but they do not mind about it. On the contrary, they enjoy listening Mr. Johnson's stories a lot. The time was happening so fast, and the students, as always, get high level in their English qualification. When the last year at school ended, the students went with their parents to look for their notes, and as the last year, they brought him an amount of presents. Chapter 6. The students' graduation. The day of graduation came, and guess what? Mr. Johnson was the host in the ceremony. It was the day where the students cried the most, so there was a lot of tears everywhere. I want to tell you something, dear reader. There was no one student who didn't give thanks to Mr. Johnson for his treatment with them, just for being the best teacher they ever have had in their lives. Casey's speech was the following. I'm going to miss this school where I spent 16 years of my life, but the thing that I will miss the most is my favorite teacher, Mr. Johnson, someone who I will never forget in my life. I love that teacher, and so did all the students in their speeches. Chapter 7. At the university. After the high school graduation, Casey, Danny, Fernando, and Lisbeth decided to study at the same university. But there was a serious problem that they haven't decided what career to take. But fortunately, Their parents advised them about to study more languages because their high level in English from school. But what a surprise! When they went to the university for the first time, there occurred an incident in the English class. Thus, when the professor at the university entered to the classroom and greeted, but not in Spanish, and started to talk about the semester's expectative, was interrupted by Casey, who said to him, "Teacher, ¿nos puedes explicar lo que usted acabó de decir en español, por favor? Porque mis amigos y yo no entendemos nada de lo que usted dijo hace un momento." "What?" said the professor. "Are you kidding me? In this class, it is not permitted to speak in another languages except in English," continues saying the professor. "Pero el problema es que nosotros no sabemos ni entendemos nada de inglés," said Casey in Spanish again. By the time the professor interrupts her saying, "Let me tell you something, girl. To you and your classmates with you, I don't know if you are kidding me or if you are telling me the truth, but the only thing that you and everybody here have to know is that in this class is not permitted speaking neither in Spanish nor in other languages except in English. Okay?" And add more, saying, "If you don't know how to speak English, it's not my business, because you all were at a school where I spent more than 12 years studying English. So you are supposed to know at least the basic in English. But if not, you are wasting your time here, because this is the university where everyone here has a universal knowledge, and nobody is supposed to learn here about the basic thing in English. Or tell me, girl, what kind of English teacher do you have at a school who was not able to teach you?" Chapter 8. I hate that teacher. Casey, Danny, Fernando, and Lisbeth left the room and gathered together and started to analyze their difficult situation. "What happened with us?" said Casey. They called their parents to explain the situation, who immediately went to the university and tried to talk with the professor, saying him, "What happened with our children that they called us to explain that they had an incident with you? So they said that you spoke to them in a bad mood." But the professor said to their parents, "Here is an university, not an elementary school. Those guys pretended to speak Spanish here in the classroom where it's not permitted to do. The only language that is permitted to speak is English." "I don't think so," said Casey's mother. "Our children know a lot how to speak English. They were the students with the highest level in English at school. So I think that you're wrong. But Casey interrupted her mom and said, Mom, I'm going to tell you the truth. We really got high level at school, but it was not for our knowledge, but because Mr. Johnson, who we considered that he was a good teacher by that time, was a fraud. He never taught us, and neither he never explained us about the grammar. He was never interested in teaching us English, and now, for his fault, we know nothing of English. I hate that teacher, said everybody at the same time. Updrafts. This story tries about what is really happening in this moment in our country's education. There are teachers that are considered good at the school. However, when the students go to the university, the papers change. So that teacher who they used to love a lot, now they hate him all with all their strength. That happened with Mr. Johnson, a very kind English teacher, but he never taught the students what they need to learn, at least the basic grammar in English, because before going to the university, reasons why they changed their love in him into hateful. Written by Hector Alvarez. That's all. See you later. Bye bye.